So Esther, why exactly should I leave my assets into trust?
Okay, Sam, well, maybe a good way to look at it would be to highlight for you what would happen if you didn't leave your assets into trust. So let's take, for example, situation, you're married, you have children, and you want to ensure that when you pass away, that your children get, let's just say, money that you've left them. If you don't set up a trust, so if you just, for example, have a standard will and you just leave that absolutely to them in lifetime, say, for example, one of your children was to get married and maybe they were unfortunate that that marriage ended in a divorce, essentially that money that you have left them could be taken into account for divorce settlement. So that inheritance that you left to your children, essentially up to half of it could be lost through a divorce settlement. Is that what you would have wanted to happen to your assets? Obviously not. In another situation, say for example again you left money absolutely to one of your children and maybe that child got into financial difficulties, so maybe went a bit plastic happy with the credit card and ran up debts which they were regretting, and creditors then were coming after them. If you just left that money, the inheritance that you wanted them to have, straight into their bank account, creditors could have a claim on that money, for them to be paid back the debts that your child owes them. But coming then back to the treasure chest, remember the treasure chest is what provides the protection. We're putting stuff in the treasure chest, we're locking it, and it's safe. So whenever you leave your inheritance into the treasure chest for the children, let's go through those examples again. You've left then money into trust, into the treasure chest for your child, and that child then goes through a divorce. They've taken the £10,000 out of a trust and they go through a divorce. Can the divorce proceedings touch that £10,000 that you have left them in trust? Simple answer, no. The reason being because remember, when it's in trust, it's the treasure chest, it belongs to the treasure chest, so it's treasure chest property, it's trust property, and they're essentially borrowing from the treasure chest. So if somebody comes along and they say, here, we want that £10,000 that your mum left in trust for you, all they have to do is provide what would be essentially a legal trust document which just says this is trust property, this came from the treasure chest, the legal title of this is not in the child's name, therefore they do not legally own it and it can't be taken off them. And trust can be used in many different areas like that. It's all about protection. It's all about having what's called the beneficial interest from the trust, whereas not having the legal title owning to the trust, which means that essentially if someone tries to take something off you, it's safe and it can't be touched.